You know that feeling when the sun comes out and suddenly your whole mood just lifts? It feels so simple, right? But what if I told you that feeling is part of a story that's 3 billion years old? A story that's written into the very fabric of life itself, connecting the sun directly to your brain. It's an incredible journey, so let's get into it.
We've all been there. The clouds roll in, the world gets gray, and suddenly your energy just plummets. Well, that's not just in your head. It's not a coincidence. It's actually a clue, a little breadcrumb trail leading us to one of the deepest, most surprising stories hidden inside our own biology.
For some people, this link is so powerful it becomes a condition called seasonal affective disorder, or SAD. But instead of just thinking of this as a modern problem, I want you to see it as an ancient echo. It's a signal from a time long, long ago, pointing back to the very origins of the molecules that run our moods today.
When we talk about mood, serotonin is always the star of the show, right? We call it the happy chemical. But that simple nickname, it hides a story that is just absolutely epic. You see, serotonin's original job had nothing to do with happiness. It had everything to do with a planetary crisis that almost wiped out all life on Earth. To really get this, we've got to go back, way, way back. Think 3 billion years ago, when the very first life forms were just starting to figure out how to tap into the biggest power source around, the sun.
So let's meet the real hero of our story, tryptophan. Forget serotonin for a minute. Tryptophan is where it all begins. This ancient amino acid has this little part called an indole ring, and it just happens to be perfectly shaped to catch photons from the sun. It was literally life's very first solar panel.
And here's what it did. A little bit of sunlight hits tryptophan, which gets all excited and spits out an electron. That tiny little spark of energy, it powered the single most important invention in the history of our planet, photosynthesis. It allowed life to turn carbon dioxide and water into food. But it also created a waste product. And that waste product was oxygen.
And this was a catastrophe. A full-blown planetary crisis. For the simple life forms back then, oxygen was pure poison. It was super reactive, and it would just rip apart their delicate little cells. So life had figured out this amazing way to make energy, but it was also flooding its entire world with a toxic, corrosive gas.
So life was in big trouble. It needed a defense system, and fast. And guess what it built it from? Tryptophan, the very molecule that started the whole problem. With just a little chemical tweak, life created a brand new molecule, serotonin. And its first job wasn't to make anything happy. Its job was to be a powerful antioxidant, to soak up all that dangerous oxygen. Serotonin was born as a shield.
So, for billions of years, this system worked just fine. Plants and algae and fungi, they all made their own tryptophan. They soaked up the sun, and they used serotonin to protect themselves. But then, a new kind of life came along and made a huge, incredibly risky bet.
About 600 million years ago, the first animals start to show up. You get sponges, then worms, then fish. But they were fundamentally different. And they made a gamble that changed the course of evolution, and directly leads to why you might feel down on a cloudy day. Okay, so here's the gamble. The entire animal kingdom just gave up the ability to make its own tryptophan, just stopped doing it. Unlike a plant, we can't make it from scratch. From that moment on, every single animal, from a jellyfish to you and me, has had to get this essential sun-catching molecule by eating it. Now, this created a massive problem. Just look at the difference here. The world was swimming in tryptophan inside plants, but inside animal bodies, it became incredibly rare. To give you an idea, for every 100 molecules of tryptophan in a plant, an animal might only have one. Life went from a world of abundance to a world of constant scarcity. And that scarcity became this powerful engine for evolution. It's why we had to develop complex brains for hunting and finding food. It's why we evolved these super efficient proteins to grab every last molecule of tryptophan we could. And this is the big one. It's why we created a huge, incredibly sensitive system of serotonin receptors. The whole point was to make a tiny, tiny amount of serotonin have a massive effect. And the proof of this incredible story isn't just in rocks somewhere. It's buried deep inside our own DNA. It's like a secret message that's been preserved for over 500 million years.
To find this message, you need to know about this weird thing called a nested gene. So think of your DNA like a big instruction manual. Most of it is code, but there are also these blank spaces in between, called introns. Well, a nested gene is when a totally separate working gene is written entirely inside one of those blank spaces. It's like a genetic turducken.
So what do we find? The gene for a really important serotonin receptor, 5H2B, is a nested gene. It's been tucked away inside the gene for a basic cellular machine, called a proteasome, for over 600 million years. It's there in every single vertebrate, from a fish to you. This setup is ancient, and it's unbelievably stable. Now here's why that's so wild. Over millions of years, our entire genome has been copied multiple times. Usually that leaves lots of extra spare genes lying around. But with this nested pair, every single time it got copied, evolution systematically deleted the extra one, always preserving just a single copy of the original.
This wasn't a fluke. The researchers who discovered this said there's a strong selective pressure to keep exactly one copy. In other words, this isn't an accident. This genetic fossil is screaming at us that the link between this serotonin receptor and this basic piece of cell machinery is absolutely crucial to how we're built.
Okay, photosynthesis, oxygen, a genetic turducken. What on earth does any of this have to do with you feeling a little down on a rainy day? Well, this is where we bring it all together.
So let's just recap this wild journey. You have tryptophan, which started out as a solar panel and is now an essential nutrient we have to eat. You have serotonin, which began as a shield against toxic oxygen and is now our master mood regulator. And you have the whole serotonin system, which was born to manage scarcity and now basically runs the entire balance of our brain and body.
So here it is. Your mood isn't just psychology. It's a deep biochemical echo of this ancient history. Your brain's serotonin system is still perfectly tuned to the presence of light, because its original building block, tryptophan, literally evolved to catch sunlight.
And this ancient connection is exactly why treatments like light therapy for SAD actually work. When you sit in front of one of those bright lights, you aren't just tricking your brain. You are speaking its oldest, most fundamental language. You're directly tapping into a pathway that has linked sunlight to survival for 3 billion years.
So, the next time you feel your spirits lift on a sunny day, just take a second and remember what you're really feeling. You're taking part in a 3 billion-year-old conversation between the sun and life itself. Which really makes you wonder, doesn't it? If our mood is an echo of ancient sunlight, what other incredible secrets from our past are still hidden deep inside our biology?